So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to make a delicious chocolate orange mud cake. So mud cakes are really very interesting because they are very dense and yet very moist as well, and they go really well with wedding cakes, or especially when the times that you have a lot of decorations on the cake to do and you want to leave the cake out for some time, like a couple of days, because you have intricate work to go on. And mud cakes usually mature with time, and the better number of days you have them in the refrigerator or the freezer, the more number of days, and then they are like the rich fruit cake types. They are better with flavor and the texture, because if they are like staying there for some more time, and they're not good when they are freshly baked. Like you can't be baking it today to be used the next day. They're like extremely soft and not very stable. But then if you give them more time, like 5 days to about 10 days in the fridge, then you have better tasting and better textured mud cakes. So they have to be as part of one of our recipe collections. So I thought this has to be a must to be included in this specific course. Okay, so it could have been just the dark chocolate mud cake, but I wanted to introduce flavors into that. And so we have orange here. So the zest and the orange juice that are added here are just part of the water. So if you don't want this whole thing to be a chocolate orange mud cake, but then you prefer to make it like chocolate mud cake, then you can just replace the orange juice with water and then follow the rest of the recipe as it is, and then you're going to have a dark chocolate mud cake as well. But now we're just going to go ahead and then make chocolate orange mud cake that is going to be used as a travel cake in this particular course. Okay, so the ingredients that I have here, we're just going to cook one part of it, which is the butter, together with water, coffee powder, and then I have chocolate. You're going to put it on a saucepan and then melt all of them together, and then have like a liquid sauce that you have to set it aside initially. And then into that liquid which was cooked, I'm going to add the orange juice in here, and then the zest, because we don't want to cook the orange juice in the saucepan because that is going to get some bitterness into the cake, which we want to avoid. Okay, and then we have all the dry ingredients, which is the baking soda, baking powder, and there's some salt, and that's cocoa powder, all-purpose flour. You're sifting them together and then adding the sugar into it to mix it and then set it aside. And then we have the wet, which is the eggs, the oil and curd. We're just putting them together, and then we'll combine all of them and then make the batter. I'm going to use a handheld beater because this is like a really lesser portion, because I have a very cute little travel cake mold which I'm just going to show to you. So it's like a very small portioned one. So our hand beater should quite do, because the stand mixer is not going to take up such a less quantity into the bowl and then beat. Okay, so the mold that I'm just going to use for this particular lesson is this travel cake mold, and that comes with a rod, and then the insert for the chocolate orange cake, the orange curd is going to go inside this particular hole. Okay, so we have to take the rod out, and then the mold is all lined up. There is butter coated on the pan, and then there is butter paper on both the sides and then on the bottom as well. Okay, and then the rod is also buttered and floured, and it needs to be inserted on both the holes. And with this rod is where we are just going to pour the batter in, and it is going to get baked with the rod. And once it is all baked, then I'm going to show you how do we just remove this rod and then have that secret hidden insert, which is going to be the orange curd. Okay, so the pan is prepared, and now I'm just going to start with sifting the dry. All-purpose flour, cocoa powder, baking powder, baking soda, and then the salt. So I've sifted, and then I'm just going to set this aside. And before putting this aside, I just want to add the sugar and then mix it up. So all this together will form my dry ingredients component. Okay, so now setting this aside, and now I will need the induction stove. So now I have the saucepan on the induction stove. Now adding in the butter. Water. Coffee powder. Then I'm adding in the chocolate as well. So you want the chocolate, coffee, water and butter all to melt together. So you want to do it on low flame. You don't want the chocolate to burn. So once you have the chocolate completely melted, you can just switch off the stove. So okay, so this is all melted completely. Okay, so I'm just going to set this aside. Now in another bowl, I'm just going to add in all the liquid ingredients, which will be curd, oil, and then the eggs. I'm just going to whisk this together. Okay, and then set this one aside as well. And then into the chocolate sauce, after allowing it to cool down a bit, add in the orange juice. And the zest as well. Then mix it up together. So now I have the liquid, the chocolate sauce, the liquid ingredients and the dry ingredients as well. And now I'm just going to get another bigger bowl, which is this one. Into this, I'm going to add the dry ingredients. Into that, make a well and add the chocolate sauce. And first we beat the chocolate sauce together with the dry for about a couple of minutes, and then we'll add the wet ingredients. So I'm just going to use a handheld beater. So what you have here is kind of a thick batter sauce. Okay, so before adding in the wet, that is what you can expect, a flowy thick batter. Okay, so into this I'm just going to add in the liquid ingredients, which is the oil, curd, and the eggs. I'm going to use the hand beater. I'm just mixing it up so it doesn't splatter much. Now I'm going to use the hand beater and then mix it up until we have a smooth batter. So now the batter is ready, and then I'm just going to transfer the batter into the mold. So now for mud cakes, we just want them to slow bake on very low temperature and for a longer period of time, and that is what is going to give it the aging capability, that it over bakes, but then the moisture doesn't have to go out. So we're just going to bake it at 140 degrees Celsius, and this will get baked for about 45 minutes to even about an hour. Why? Because even after the toothpick has come out clean, we are going to keep it back into the oven and then allow it to bake more than it is the normal doneness. So for this particular mold and this particular amount of the batter, you can bake anywhere between 45 to 50 minutes. And if you're just scared of things getting burnt up or something, you can even cover the top with the foil and keep it in the oven, because if it is not going to over bake, then this is going to be a very unstable sponge, because when you're going to take it out of the oven, it is going to be like it's kind of going to be crumbly, or it could break any time or things like that, because it's going to be extremely soft the moment it comes out of the oven. So we'll be freezing it, and only after which we will be able to use it. And that is when you're going to cut slices, we are going to have extremely stable slice, and that comes with over baking. So at 140 degrees Celsius, obviously your oven has to be preheating at this stage, and then we bake anywhere between 45 to about 45 minutes to about an hour. Okay, so I'm just going to bake. Into the pan, you can just see the rod is all above the batter, but then the batter is going to rise up and then it is going to come all the way above the rod. Okay, so I'm just going to tap it once. Okay, so you can see the rod is all shown up. So that is how it is going to be. Now I'm going to put this into the oven at 140 degrees Celsius to get baked for about 45 minutes, and then I'm just going to continue baking for some more time, which is, it's like taking it all the way up to an hour, and then I'll get back to show you how this travel cake, the chocolate orange mud cake, has been baked. So we have the chocolate orange mud cake baked and out of the oven. It is quite warm. I just wanted to show how it looks. Obviously we have over baked it, right? So the toothpick, even after it comes out clean, you could just keep it for the more like for 15 minutes on 140 degrees Celsius. So and now you can't unmold now because it will be too soft. So with the rod in, this needs to be cling wrapped and then frozen for about 4 hours, and then I'll just get back to show you how we need to remove this rod and then take the cake out. So the chocolate orange mud cake, you can see it's been freezing for about 2 hours, and I'm just going to release the rod out. Okay, take this one out, and then I'm just going to get the cake out, and we have the lining of the butter paper, so it's just taken out of the pan, and then we have the center hole here through which we are just going to add in the orange curd. Now this again should go into the freezer. So I'm just going to cling wrap this in 2 layers and then pop it in the freezer, and then I'll get back when I'm ready to assemble the chocolate orange travel cake.